Welcome to your first week of The Screen Report, the only place on the internet where we don't just report the news, we actively judge it. As always, Hollywood does not know what to make, who to fight, or when to stop. Take the box office for instance. We just had the previews drop for two major films, the remake of The Running Man and Now You See Me 3. If that doesn't scream, we are creatively bankrupt and scraping the bottom of the IP barrel, I don't know what does. They're running a marathon with two broken legs. One is a sequel nobody asked for about stage magicians, and the other is a retread of a 1980s Schwarzenegger film. The industry is so risk averse they'd rather spend $250 million on a guaranteed shrug than try anything truly new. And what's the fan reaction? A collective, tired yawn. And speaking of identity crisis, James Cameron is out here giving interviews about Avatar: Fire and Ash. He told Empire magazine that Colonel Quaritch, the man who died in the first movie, came back as a blue-skinned recombinant and then spent the second movie trying to kill his own son, is now having a spiritual awakening. Cameron says Quaritch's soul is in play and they might forge an alliance with Jake Sully because, quote, "It's very uninteresting to just have two guys trying to kill each other for 3 movies. A $2.5 billion franchise built on two guys trying to kill each other is suddenly uninteresting. This is peak Hollywood, realizing you've written yourself into a corner and trying to fix it with a shocking, unearned villain redemption arc." It's always a good sign when the big studio execs realize they screwed up so badly they have to call in the cavalry. Now, we're hearing the Russo Brothers, the architects of the Infinity War run, are supposedly being brought in to oversee the entire MCU Mutant Saga after Secret Wars. They're going to join the Marvel Parliament, which sounds like something straight out of a bad D&D session. Apparently, this is because the entire multiverse saga felt like a drunken toddler trying to paint a mural, messy, scattered, and lacking a clear direction. So, the solution is to bring back the guys who actually finished a story. That's not forward thinking. That's calling your ex to fix the leaky faucet because the new plumber, who was probably hired for diversity quotas, flooded the bathroom. But hey! At least the MCU is trying to fix its mess by bringing in pros. Netflix? They've officially sunk The Witcher so far down the drain. Season 4 just dropped with record low Rotten Tomato scores, 56% from critics and a brutal 19% from audiences. Many viewers pointed out that the damage was done way back in Season 2 when the showrunners decided they knew better than the author and injected their own, let's just say, highly original interpretations of the lore. When Henry Cavill walked, the audience said, "We're out." You can't tell fans who love the story, "We are changing your beloved characters to fit our message," and expect them to stick around. Turns out, audiences just want a faithful adaptation, not a lecture. And if you're not messing up existing lore, you're just hitting the reset button. The Star Trek film franchise, which literally just had a reboot, is getting another reboot. They've tapped Goldstein and Daly to write and direct a brand new film, ditching the Kelvin timeline cast, ditching Kirk and Spock, and going with entirely new characters. When your solution to franchise fatigue is to hit the reset button, then immediately hit the reset button again, you're not making art, you're playing the lottery. Can we please stop building skyscrapers on shifting sand? Speaking of shifting sand, let's check in on the Game of Thrones universe. HBO is pressing ahead with the Dunk and Egg prequel, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which, predictably, is running straight into the same wall that crippled Game of Thrones. Martin hasn't finished the books. The showrunner, Ira Parker, will have about 3 seasons of source material before he has to pull a D&D and make up the rest. So we are all just waiting guaranteed disappointment. It's just endless, desperate corporate extraction, which brings me to Shōgun. That show was a limited series, a complete self-contained masterpiece based on one novel. it had a perfect, satisfying ending. So, naturally, FX has confirmed they are bringing it back for season 2. Why? Because it made money. That's it. They're inventing new stories for characters whose arcs were concluded. They're taking a beautiful painting and deciding to spray paint a sequel onto the side of it just because the first one sold well. It's a pure cash grab that ruins the integrity of the original art. But hey, sometimes the chaos works out. Over in the new Western corner, the Landman TV series is doing gangbusters, even with all the internal studio drama. Taylor Sheridan, the king of the Western genre, is reportedly leaving Paramount for NBC Universal, which is a seismic shift. Yet, Sam Elliott, speaking to Extra TV, dropped the surprisingly good news that they expect to film Landman Season 3 in April 2026. A quick turnaround. A success story. Proof that maybe, just maybe, when you give the audience what they want, a proper story starring Sam Elliott's magnificent mustache, they will actually show up. Hold on to that small, pure joy because it won't last. It especially won't last when you look at the absolute frenzy surrounding Stranger Things Season 5. Fandoms are having a meltdown because Caleb McLaughlin, who plays Lucas, made an offhand comment during an interview that his finale experience was different from his co-stars. That single word has launched 1,000 fan theories that Lucas is toast, that he's sacrificing himself for Max, or that he leaves the show early. The final season of an iconic series is now being held hostage by a single cryptic word confirming that the line between actor banter and life or death spoilers has been completely erased. And finally, my favorite part of the Hollywood panic machine, the desperate plea for validation. We're seeing a massive campaign push for the animated film Demon Slayer Infinity Castle to get a Best Animated Feature nomination at the Oscars. Now, this is a brilliant film, but let's be real. The Academy is an industry that historically scoffs at anime and genre animation until they absolutely have to recognize it. The push isn't about the art, it's about studios trying to force a huge, profitable global franchise into a traditional, often woke awards conversation to look relevant. It's an exercise in status-seeking absurdity. So, there you have it. Studios are rebooting the same movie twice, resurrecting villains just to make them kiss the hero, begging back their old employees, chasing authors who haven't written an ending in a decade, and milking closed-ended masterpieces for sequel cash. It's an industry full of identity crisis and poor decisions. And the only thing we can be sure of? Well, we'll be here next week, watching the whole thing burn again. Please don't let the sequels hit you on the way out. Cheers.